Hello, I'm Agathe, and I will share with you how it started for me to eat this way. Like I was sharing, there's a friend who told me about raw food, and then I read the book, and then I thought, I'm just gonna eat nuts and fruits and veg and seed. Why not? I eat every day, so let's try that. And I did. Part of me is really a gift, and that started was when I was a child. So I'm adopted. I was overweight. I was cross-eyed. My skin was a mess. So I was teased quite badly. And I didn't spend much time with other children. They were just too mean. So I decided to spend more time with myself and with animals. So that's where I was most of the time. And then when I was 12 years old, I put that thought in my mind, just like a child. It was the end of the school year, and I thought, I'm gonna fix my eye. It won't be cross-eyed anymore. So every night I went to bed and did, exercise with my eyes going sideways and up and down and around. And my child's mind was, I will fix it by doing just that. And then that same summer, I decided to lose the extra weight. So I ate vegetables, not knowing. I mean, back then, look, I'm 63 now. I was 12 then, so that's quite years back. I had no idea about raw food, but I just did that. And I had I mean, I was blessed with living with my uncle, and that we had a garden, so I was eating fresh from the garden. Imagine that, the best there is. And of course, it was my uncle was not using chemicals; he was growing everything organic. So I lost the extra weight, and I came to back to school in September, and then the other kids were just not recognizing me. Glasses were gone. I had lost 40 pounds, so it was a different person. And that is to say that when you take on something, if you can take on at the same time the mind of the child that you were way back then. When you took a sheet over a sofa and you created your world in that little area, that kind of covered area that you created, when you took a broom and you were, like up on the sky and flying away on your broom, and things you put in your mind that you could do. So I had that, in a sense, you remember Tony said, thank Mrs. So-and-so for Dean, who was so mean to him. She really instilled in him to, what? I'm going to do this. And on his own. So when we find that power within to go through, to transcend, to accomplish, it's quite amazing. And we have that, and our body has that too. Like, and us and our body isn't a two entity. We're together here. So when you take on to eat this way, your body will then literally thank you. A thing I had at my cafe is people would come, never ate this way before, and they would come to my cafe with a friend, or they would come out of curiosity, or they read some good reviews and they thought, well, let's check it out. And then they would eat, and then after that they would come up to me and say, my body feel happy. They were surprised themselves. And so they felt that. It was their first time, but they felt that way. And that's how it is. Our body feels happy. So give yourself that gift of believing. And as I say to people, what is 3 months of your life if it changes your life? What if 3 months, after those 3 months, you have energy, vitality, whatever you have going on with your, whatever you have going on for your health, no doubt it will improve, no doubt. And that's part of it. Having, believing it will. anything we do in life, like if you're in a relationship and you're in and you have a foot out the door, and you're in and you trust, but you keep it 20% aside just in case, it's felt. Tony was referring to that when you watch a game, someone is playing and is about to throw, and you know they'll miss they'll miss the throw. It's not gonna make it. They'll miss the goal because you sense it, you feel it. So if we, as an outside viewer, sense it watching someone going, imagine our body, which is us, how it feels when you say and you wish that it will go well, but you don't trust entirely. It's like there is other things that I've heard as well is the universe will deliver, but you have to be at the address, and the address is to be there 100%. Why would it deliver otherwise? There is something I love to do in the morning is I close my eyes and I put myself at the end of a stage, like just at the edge here, just about to fall into, fall into the crowd. You've heard that. So I do that. I'm at the end of the stage and I close my eyes and I let myself fall in the arm of the universe and trusting that today is a great day. Today, whatever comes my way is meant to be for me to grow today. So I just 100%. So let yourself, allow yourself that gift of 100% believing in what you're about to take on. And then the results will come. I have no doubt whatsoever. Now, when it comes to people around you, of course, you decided that. They didn't. So they listen to you sometimes and they might go like, okay, maybe. And, they're not convinced as you are. So just give them love. Not everyone has has come across this information. You came across this information for a reason. The universe has put it on your path for a reason to grow. Like the universe has put on our path this mastermind that we're doing. It's an opportunity to grow, to move the needle, and to evolve. I don't want to say a better life because life is always good. But life expands, and by you expanding, you also can radiate more and inspire more people, and make more of a difference in the world for yourself and in the world. So have love for them, and after the fact now, which I didn't know back then when I did start eating this way 18 years ago. And my in-laws were very concerned. And what it is as much of a conviction I have myself of this was the right thing. And I myself saw the results, like within 3 months, all the arthritis, excess weight, rashes on my face, floaters in my vision. Those little bumps we have behind our arms here that are red little dots and whatnot. My skin was always been fussy. So that also got resolved. Like, what? I used to burn. I used to, just go in the sunshine for 10 minutes and I was red like a lobster. I was reacting to sunscreen. So now not anymore. I just get freckles. So as much as conviction I had of what I was doing, and was, almost from day one, making a huge shift in my life for the best, as much in my in-laws, where one of them was a doctor, to her was, it does not make any sense at all. And a brother, my then husband, he will make him sick. My children, or nephews and niece, you will make them sick. they won't grow as they should, they won't develop as they should, they will lose their IQ, they just won't be smart. I mean, she had all in her world the knowledge to say, to believe in her world, not to say, but to believe in her world, that what was to do didn't make sense. So the family was so uncomfortable with what I was doing, even though, like I was telling you, all the results I got for myself and all the results for my then husband and my children, any illnesses we had got resolved. I mean, in our house, we had, of course, the usual. By then, I didn't have any Advil and things like this. It was all holistic medicine. But still, golden seal and oil of oregano and, all those things you have that you can treat if there is a cold coming up or a headache or things like that. Well, they were expired. So I after, X time, I had to throw them away, and I didn't get any more. There was no need. We were never sick. For 18 years of me eating this way, I've never been sick. Even though I owned a cafe for 8 of those years and had many people come and visit, and then they would say, oh, no, don't come close to me because I'm sick. I say, come on, give me a hug. I'll give you, some of my good medicine, my good immune system. But to them, it did not make sense. So as much of conviction I have for myself, this was the right thing to do, as much they had for themselves, this was the wrong thing to do. So, it led to uncomfortable time, and because I would bring my food to family gatherings, and that would upset them, because also they were on top of things. All members of the family were good cooks. So it was like, what do you mean you're not going to eat my food? How rude is that? And they loved the desserts that I brought. But other than that, they just were not interested. They were against it. And so here's what I suggest is there is no fight to have. No fights at all. There is to request of who is dear to your heart. Because if your neighbor doesn't agree with what you do, it's like, that's fine. I'll see you in 3 months. You don't have to. And in 3 months, they'll see the difference and they'll go like, oh, wow. But people who are dear to your heart and they're important to you, and you have a ritual of seeing them every so often and whatnot. So 3 months not seeing them is not possible, that sort of thing. Request of them, give me 3 months. Give me 3 months of eating the way I'm planning on doing now. I'm not planning, I'm committing to eat now. Give me 3 months. And, please don't feel offended. Don't feel rejected. Understand my search that I'm doing here. Understand that I deeply believe that this will make a difference in my life. I deeply believe it will resolve so many things that are trouble for me right now. And please understand and let me do this for 3 months, and don't be offended at all. So ask them for their support that way. So you're not asking them to do what you do, because they're not there. That's not what they do. That's what you do. So don't ask them to do what you do. Don't try to convince them either. And don't come around and say, oh, you're eating meat, you're so bad, you should be vegan. There's no point doing that. That's what they do. At the time they're doing this, that's what they do. You now have decided to do something else. But don't blame. And don't point the finger. Remember, when you point a finger, there is 3 pointing at you. And it will, I assure you, people who dearly, profoundly love you will support you. I now know, after 18 years of eating this way, I now know, and I talk to my in-law, my ex-in-law. I'm invited to family gatherings and Christmas parties and things like that. And they are now eating organic. They're not eating raw food, that's not their thing, but they're eating organic. And they are so proud of what I'm doing, and supporting me in what I'm doing. You see, they're supporting me in what I'm doing now. They don't do this, they don't eat that way, it's not their lifestyle, but they're supporting me in what I'm doing. They're proud, they keep saying how proud they are of what I'm doing. So is my ex-husband, everyone in my ex-family, they're just all proud. It's so cute, the nephews and nieces, they call me Auntie Agathe. And I was never kicked out of the family. What it was is their fear made it so that I couldn't stay in the family, in the pressure. I couldn't stay in the family. So you could stay in your family. It's in your way of being with them and engaging them in supporting you. Not doing anything of what you're doing, supporting you. And like I said, bring desserts. They love that. Desserts are amazing. The other thing I want to say about when we eat the way we do, eating vegan, the results are just remarkable for the planet. So we talk all about the benefit for our health. It's obvious. I mean, so many things got resolved in my life with my family, my children. So many things got resolved with my customers, even cancer. I've heard with my customers was IBS, cancer, cholesterol, and the usual one. The problem with the gut inflammation and all that. Well, it's inflammation, so it resolves so many illnesses that are relate or linked to inflammation. Like I was saying, for me in the morning, I wake up, I'm up. I'm not like, like you feel the body needs some oiling before you can start moving. So that's inflammation when the pain starts to set in, and it takes a little bit of time to warm up and get rid of it, or it might not just go away at all, but at least you can move a bit faster throughout your day. For me, is I get up. That's it, that's all. There's no pain whatsoever. Whereas before, I had my hands, my hip, and my ankle. When they say when you hurt yourself, and I did fracture my ankle way back with my third pregnancy, and I did break my wrist. You can see it's kind of funny here, 2 times. So they say, arthritis will set in, you might feel it, you might feel the weather. I don't. So that's all for us. It's just amazing, and for my children too, was just beautiful to see the healing. Oh, I didn't share that story. It's on my website, but just to tell you a little bit, my daughter, she skin issues we had in our family. So she would sit and read a book, and it was so itchy for her. She would just go around like this with her hand and scratch her face. So she would have a red yellow on her face. She did the same in the back of her neck, and was like a cat used it for a scratching post. It was awful, and she had scratches all over her scalp. My youngest son was so hyperactive. Teacher said, could you just put that kid on Ritalin? He's driving me off the wall. And he was literally, in our house, we had a hallway that was narrow, like 3 feet wide. And he would take his shoes off, and so bare feet, and then climb with his hand and his feet, and boom, climb and boom. He would just do that for 10 minutes. It was insane. And then my oldest son, sorry, so that was my youngest, and my oldest son, he had such a bad rash, and that was so scary because the rash was on his thighs, behind his thighs, but it was climbing up towards his genitals, and it was so bad. He would wake up in the morning, his sheets would have dried blood, on it. It had dried blood underneath his fingernails. And when this happens, when you have children, you'd rather be sick than them be sick. It's like, give this to me and take it off my child, please. But there you go. I hated antibiotic, but I did two round of antibiotic. Didn't resolve the problem whatsoever. And then he as well, all switched to living cuisine. Everything just vanished. Everything vanished. And that is the nutrients in the food. That is the body. When the body gets nutrients that really supply what it's needed for it to perform, it does. I mean, we have a plant. We give it good soil. We give it, what we feel is the nutrients for it to grow. We care for it, and it grows. But if you don't gas up your plant. If you would, of course, they wouldn't do very well. You don't water your car because your car wouldn't move. So why do we think that we can just put whatever in our body and it's okay? Our body we come from the earth. So if you from the earth take what the earth is offering, beside the animals that are walking on it, I'm thinking of what's growing on this earth, and you eat that, the body recognizes it. That's why also I don't take that many supplements. I take vitamin D and K, so combined together it helps to absorb, and I take B12, and that's all. Other than that, I don't take supplements. If I take superfood, they are food. It's a supplement that is food dehydrated, so it's complete. It's not an extract of. So that's what I do. Okay, so that's all the part where, because we are eating this way, we become so healthy. Well, the other thing as well that blew my mind is what happens for your home. So we were a family of 5. So at the end of the week, we had 2 huge garbage bags, which usually you see for a family of 5, right? And then we started eating this way. And it went down to that little, the garbage bag for the kitchen canister, like the small one, the smallest one. It went down to that. Because you don't have any, there's no point, you don't buy anything that comes in a cardboard box, in a can. When you go to the grocery, you go to the produce aisle, the seasoning and the oil, the nuts and the seeds, the pseudo grain in my case. Because of the cafe, I develop recipes that don't have wheat. I don't mean you don't have to, but there you go. And then you're out. So you can really, all the nuts and seeds, you can use the bulk section. All the produce, you just reuse the plastic bag, or you have those very thin fabric bag that you can put your produce in. What else? And then the seasoning is the same. You can also go into the bulk section. So you are using so little resources beside the earth growing food that you just don't generate waste. And in doing that, imagine that. Of course, my cafe was the same. So my cafe, I should put that photo. I had that photo of 2014 showing. In a week, in 2014, we had 14 5-gallon containers of kitchen scraps to compost, to create or put into a compost and be composted. And we had two bags or 1 bag of garbage, of waste, like garbage, like you couldn't do anything with it. And what it was really were those twist ties and blue gloves and plastic wraps sometimes you had on stuff. And other than that, of course, we were recycling all the cardboard, all the glass. It was just remarkable. That was for a cafe. Less than 10% of our waste was waste. Other than that, it was green waste, recycle. So at home happens the same thing. So imagine that. Every household that would be this way. Imagine that what happened. No one wants to have a dump in their backyard. You know how it goes, right? Like there is a place where all those garbage trucks go to dump the garbage. Well, it has to be somewhere in your community, somewhere in your town, somewhere in your it has to be somewhere, right? No one wants to have that. It stinks. It's awful. No one wants to have that. So now imagine if every household go from 2 huge garbage bag to a tiny little one every week. Imagine that. How the contribution we do to our planet, we do for our children. Our children, and I say because even if my neighbor's children are not mine of my blood or adopted by me, they're still children that we should live. I see our children to leave them a legacy that I will live for. It inspires me to think. It inspires me to know that what I'm doing is leaving a legacy for my children to live for. What else? And as you know, the a field of animal being fed and brought up to whatever stage in their life to then be butchered. In that same field, you can grow so much vegetables, so many. The other thing is, of course, eating this way. I absolutely recommend that you eat organic, because now, if you eat non-organic, being that you eat meat that is non-organic, then you eat all the medication they give to those animals to make them grow faster, not get sick, whatever. They just shoot them with it, being sick or not. It's just a routine. They do that weekly. And then when you eat vegetables that are not organic, then there is growth regulator, fungicides, herbicides, pesticides. So yeah, I mean, it goes in the food, right? It's in the soil. Plus, it ruins the soil. It erodes the topsoil because it's just not feeding the soil. It's ruining the soil. It's burning the soil. And you look at any of them, and I'm sure that don't put a drop of this on your skin, because your skin is just going to dry. It's going to dry up, starting to dry, just like our fields are starting to dry, and our topsoil is starting to just go to waste. There is a way about organic farming that regenerates the soil. Doesn't get it feeds the soil, and so we create soil. We don't take away from the soil. So organic, and then with that, a little aside, I'm going all over the place, but anyway, you can listen to this many times to put all the pieces together. Back in 2000, when I started to eat this way, actually it was just a year before, 2002. I then started to have my family and eat everything organic. I was looking for ways for us to be better. I mean, my children had those skin issues, myself too. So I thought, well, let's do organic, but the cost was higher. So I created a food buying group at my home, and that's very simple to do. And I'm sure here we have, my supplier will deliver to buying group. I'm sure wherever you are in the world, it's the same. Or you yourself go, with someone who has a van maybe, and grab the produce you want to buy and divide it up in the group. It's very easy to put in place. And that allows us to eat organic. So there was no like, oh no, I cannot eat organic because it's too expensive. Is it too expensive, right? That's the question. Is it too expensive if your body is now being fed with clean food? Is it too expensive if by buying this way you are also caring for the farmer who is not spraying and breathing and being surrounded by pesticides and herbicides? Is it too expensive if buying this way you are part of the solution for the soil, for the planet, for all the beings, right? The animals that are affected by that. We don't want to lose our butterfly and our bees and our bats and all the little insects, and even in the soil, right? I mean, in the soil there's all those microorganisms. Imagine what's going on for them when they're being, it's being poured on their head, that stuff that is so bad for them. So is it too expensive? We chose as a family to not have expensive, fancy vacations, but have the organic food. That's what we did. I chose to create that buying group to have that organic food. So there are ways to bring in your life what you believe in. There are ways to make your action committed, or have your action and support your action to make a better world for yourself, your family, for the world. And I say our thoughts, our words, and our action support the evolvement of all beings on this planet. It's not just me, my family, in my home, close my door. It's all of us. Every action, every thoughts, every words I say affects me, people around me, and affects everything. Everything that I do affects. I'm part of this world. We are one, right? So, yeah, you know, stick to your journey. It's also, and the other thing, oh my gosh, there's so much to say. We all, so in my family, with switching this way, and then it was in 2003, in 2004, in the spring, my children were eating that way, and in 2006, I separated from my husband. And then for other people around me, was like, oh my gosh, God, you know, here you are on your own with 3 teenagers, 11, yeah, 11, 13, and 15, or 11, something like that, those ages. It was like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? But by then, everyone in the family was so zen. So before the living cuisine for my children, the usual, I mean, children are children, so they you know, they after each other, and they say mean things, and they are siblings rivalry, whatever goes on. And so my daughter, you know, was Christelle, I had to cut her nails. I had to cut her nails so short because she would just scratch, or you know, like come and use her nails to hurt our brothers. Not meaning to do that to create something awful, but it was just a way of, because I mean, she was a girl, they were boys. It was her way of being able to be on top. My youngest son, as I said, you know, was hyperactive and all over the place, so he was driving other people crazy and himself as well. And my oldest son had temper tantrums. Temper tantrums. He would kick the wall and make a hole in the wall. I mean, it was pretty bad. So that was it. And then living food. I started to feed them living food, and they all calmed down. It's just like, you know, everything became so zen in the family, and myself included. So you know, in the past I would, geez, you know, we lose our cool and we yell, which is pretty awful to do, but that's what I did, not knowing or not being aware of you know, what I was creating. So after that, something would go wrong, and I would want their attention, and I would whisper to them what I wanted them to do. So everything was so zen in our family. So it was easy. Yes, I separated from my husband, but it was easy. It was really easy. Those children were absolutely amazing and wonderful, and didn't make my life difficult one bit whatsoever. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So that's what, you know, think of all that. Think of all that. Think of all what's possible for you, what will come in your life, just by changing what's on your plate. Changing what's on your plate will provide you vitality and energy, and you know, like I said, I'm 60, but I feel like 40. Changing what's on your plate will change the world around you. You'll be contributing so much to the world and so much to the future of our children. Changing what's on your plate will contribute to those people who are actually growing food for you. So the more farmers will farm organic, the more for their family and themselves, they'll have energy and vitality and good health. Changing what's on your plate for all the beings, all those little beings, those animals that are, you know, if they're not there, I'm sorry, but we need bees to have apples. We need bats to not have all those little bugs that, you know, could come and make our lives super difficult. And all the other things they do, of course, I don't know all the ins and outs of all the animals, what they do, for what reason, but they're all there for a purpose. So changing what's on your plate, you will contribute to their health. You see, changing what's on your plate is truly and deeply changing the world for a better world. So stick to it. You're onto something quite beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.